people are the textbook definition of an entrepreneur? Any guesses? You're saying 5, maybe? Really small number? Actually, it's less than 1. It's about 0.2 people out of 100 actually own their own business or are an entrepreneur, as a dictionary would have you believe. But I think every person has the ability to be an entrepreneur in their own way. Do you have to own your own business to be an entrepreneur? I don't think so. Do you have to think of a new idea, an original idea that nobody's ever had before? No. We just saw a presentation just a moment ago. Are silicone bracelets a new invention? Did he invent them? No. Did he start them? No. But he makes a ton of money. He's an entrepreneur in every way. But he didn't have to be necessarily original. He just took what was existing and used it in a new way. So in a way, I'm not going to tell you like how to think up new ideas. I'm just going to try to talk to you about how I thought of my idea and maybe give you an example of what a person could do, but I'm not going to try to tell you what you should do. You just have to do it. So who am I? Why should you listen to what I'm saying? Well, I'm a 20-year-old from Wyoming, a tiny state, lowest population in America, from a tiny town of 5,000 people. And I decided I want to go to Stanford in high school, and I'm the only student from my high school who's gone to Stanford in its 110-year history. Hold on. Why? Was it because I listened to somebody else said, oh, you should go? No, it's because I wanted to. I wanted to get out of Wyoming. Wyoming's really boring. Like, people from Wyoming don't travel all over the world. Like, do any of you guys know somebody from Wyoming prior to meeting me? All right, one person, exactly. So, I just like to say, the way I did it is I tried to do something different. Not necessarily new and original, but just like, I didn't take advice from anybody, I just went out and did it. So I think in that way, you might say I take risks, what you're saying. I did something nobody else had done in my high school. And I actually had people in my high school that tried to tell me not to go. Like, don't go to Stanford, that's a bad school. People in the United States actually say that. Imagine that. It seems unbelievable, but a lot of people try to talk me out of going. Really. My parents do. But aside from that, I ran a computer business, my own computer business out of my house for 5 years. Started last year middle school. And I also started 4 different student groups in my high school. I've held a steady job since I was 16 years old. When I turned 16, I wanted to go buy like a PlayStation. And my mom's like, I'm not going to give you any money, you have to go make it yourself. So I got a job. And since I was 16, I've held a steady job without more than 1 month off my entire life. So I've been working a lot. And what that means is really I have a lot of experience with startup-like atmospheres. Because when you come from a small town like mine, you don't have big businesses attracted to coming to work in a town of 5,000 people. Everybody in town has to have their own business. Our grocery store is family-owned. The gas station is family-owned. The movie store is not a Blockbuster or something you guys know about. It's called the Movie Center. And it's owned by a gal named Vicky that I know her kids, and I worked there for a while. Like, it seems like in small towns like where I'm from, every store in town is an entrepreneur business. Because they do it, they run it themselves. Which is strange, because when I tell you 0.2 people out of every 100 actually own their own business, in my hometown, I would say 1 in 5 people own their own business. Because there's so many things to do. If you think of it, what does an entire community need to run? You need people who can mow lawns, people who can shovel sidewalks, people who can teach school, people who can have all different kinds of things, and in a way, they all have their own business. So the bottom line is really, I believe I had a lot of experience in business work. I've been an employee. I've worked at Pizza Hut as a waiter, making minimum wage for like 1.5 years. I've been a CEO of my own company. It didn't go IPO or anything, but I have my own company for like 5 years. And I've also been a manager in a lot of different situations in town where I get set up as a manager in a business. So even though you guys might see my bio on Facebook, that's not really me. That's kind of a joke, but that's kind of a little bit about who I am. So now, what advice would I give you about your own entrepreneurial experience? Well, one of my favorite quotes about business is from former President Theodore Roosevelt. And what he said is, far and away the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean you should spend your life making tons of money? Like you just stack up bills? No. We've seen people jump off of buildings because they're so depressed, even though they're sitting on like $1 billion. We've seen people run companies make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a day, and they're not happy. So what is it about life that makes it worth living? Like, what is it that makes people energetic about getting up and doing business? Because it's hard work. It's really hard. Like, you have to work at it all day, all night. It constantly has to be in the back of your mind as something that's worth doing. And that's the second part. It's worth it. Like, there's something about doing business that made all of you guys travel from all over the world, stay here for a week, when you could be somewhere else. I mean, you guys could be out partying, you could be at clubs. Well, we do that anyways. But, you know, everybody came here because they're excited about business. So my theory about why business is so important is because it's about the exchange of ideas. It's about communication. Like, there's just something about being in a room full of people from all over the world and talking with them that is like unlike any other experience. And my town, I went to school with 100 people for 18 years. I didn't have any other classmates. Like, very small school, I knew very well every single person in my class. It was kind of boring. They were great people, but I would like to know more than 100 people my age throughout my life. That's why I wanted to go to Stanford. It wasn't because I wanted to make lots of money. It wasn't because I wanted to have a successful job. I wanted to meet interesting people. Why did I join ACES? Because I really think Asia is an amazing place. There's a ton of people in Asia. There's more people in Asia than any other place in the world. Really. And I love talking with people, exchanging ideas, finding out things. And that's what business is when you get down to it. Because what is money? It's nothing but a value. It's just like a piece of paper. Really, you take a whole stack of cash and burn it. Did you really lose anything? No, because all it signifies is the potential for value. And money only has value when it's exchanged. If I just have a whole stack of cash and keep it in a suitcase my whole life, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any value until you exchange it for something. So that's why business, I think, is more important than just money. In fact, I would do business my whole life and not even get paid if every day I could exchange something with somebody else. Because really, you don't need money to exchange. You could get your whole life, go through everything, and not even touch a single dollar bill if you really think about it. You'd have to try really hard. Like, you have to be like a musician and play, you know, songs to get food or something, but you could do it. I mean, money is not the most important thing in life. It's not even a very important thing, because it's just a way that we communicate with each other, that we exchange with each other. So, I want to talk about the why and how of being an entrepreneur. I think it's really important to think about why you want to be an entrepreneur, not how. Everybody has their own ideas for how they're going to become an entrepreneur. How am I going to be successful? How am I going to start my own business? I can't tell you how to do it. I just think you should always be asking yourself why. Because there are a lot of unhappy business people in the world. I don't think any of them are sitting in this room, but I know a lot of adults who are really unhappy working in business. And they really just need to ask themselves why they're in business in the first place. And I think if they do, they'll find out that, well, maybe they're just not having enough fun. They're not exchanging enough. They're not communicating with people enough. Maybe they're stuck in a cubicle all day programming away at a computer. For me, that seems not fun at all. And even though I'm really interested in computers, I don't think I could ever be a programmer because I would hate to be isolated from people all day. So I think one of the things is you need to ask yourself at all times why you're doing what you're doing. Everybody knows how they're doing it. You just need to know why you're doing it. And why do I want to do it? Well, I want to exchange ideas with people. I want to travel the world, and I'd like to be successful. That's really all it is. Successful doesn't necessarily mean money to me. It just means getting to do the things I'd like to do, really. So then what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? I said it's a person who starts or organizes a business or company, especially one involving risk. But where did that word come from? Well, actually, it comes from the French language in the 19th century. The original word entrepreneur meant director of a musical institution. Is this a conference about directors of musical institutions? No. So that means something deeper than that. And really what it comes from in French is a word meaning to undertake, which means to commit oneself to a responsibility or enterprise, to commit to doing something. So really, the bottom line advice I can give you guys would be to do it. we all like to really talk about